My beloved child, draw near for a moment, for heaven has stirred something unusual tonight. The air around you may feel ordinary. The room may be quiet, but in the spirit realm everything is shifting. A countdown has begun. Not a countdown of fear, but a countdown of destiny. And as I stand before you as a father guiding his flock, I feel the trembling of the heavens preparing to speak. 30 seconds left. Not 30 minutes. Not 30 days. But 30 seconds before a message from the throne room breaks through the veil. I remember the moment it began. I was sitting in stillness, listening, waiting, sensing the faint flutter of wings moving across eternity. Then suddenly, like a flame pushed by a holy wind, the atmosphere thickened. My heart began to tremble, not with fear, but with a holy weight. That is when I knew someone was about to receive a divine announcement, someone who has been wandering, asking, hoping, crying out in silence. Someone like you, my child. And as these final seconds fall away, heaven leans closer. You may not hear thunder. You may not see flashes of heavenly fire. But the invisible realm is roaring with purpose, for an archangel is stepping forward with a message that carries urgency, love, and destiny all woven into one. I felt the shift as clearly as breath on my neck. Archangel Michael, commander of the heavenly armies, was approaching with an announcement not meant for the masses but meant for the listening ones. The chosen ones. The ones who have survived storms and still kept a spark of faith alive. The ones heaven calls beloved. My child, listen carefully, for these final seconds are not accidental. They are divine. You may have felt lately that time is slipping through your fingers, that life has been speaking louder than your hope, that your prayers, though sincere, have echoed with no answer. But heaven has heard every whisper. And tonight, the countdown marks the end of silence. Somewhere in the unseen realm, Michael's sword glows with holy fire. His steps shake the foundations of darkness. His wings carry the sound of victory long before it manifests in the natural world. And as he approaches, the veil between heaven and earth becomes thin. So thin that your spirit can feel what your eyes cannot yet see. Do you sense it, my child? The stirring, the pull, the gentle trembling in your heart right now. That is the signature of heaven touching your timeline. And as the final seconds tick away, a message is being prepared, one that will not only reveal what is coming in the next 3 hours, but also warn you of the sign you must not ignore. For missing this sign would mean missing a miracle that was tailor-made for the depths of your soul. Stay close now. Stay open. Stay listening. The countdown strikes its final breath and heaven is ready to speak. My beloved child, remain close in spirit, for as the final second dissolved it, the atmosphere around me shifted with a weight so holy that even the air felt like it bowed. It was then that the light in the room changed. Not brighter in the way lamps glow, not warmer in the way fire burns, but alive, pulsing, breathing with heavenly presence. And out of that living light stepped the one whose name shakes the roots of darkness itself. Archangel Michael. He did not arrive with chaos. He did not come with the thunder of war. Though all of heaven knows he commands legions that could scatter every shadow in an instant. No, my child. He came with the stillness of authority, the silence that speaks louder than any sound, the peace that comes only when victory is not being negotiated but already assured. His presence filled the room like a mighty wind held in perfect control. And when he looked toward you, even though his eyes were fixed on me in the vision, I felt with absolute certainty that the message he carried was meant for your heart. The kind of message that arrives not because you earned it, not because you are perfect, but because heaven chooses moments of mercy and breakthrough for those who are weary yet faithful. He raised his hand slightly, and I saw light gather round him like a shield woven from the very breath of God. Then he spoke, and my child, his voice did not sound like the voices of men. It did not echo or fade. It carried weight. It carried destiny. It carried a tone that made my spirit stand in absolute attention. Beloved child of destiny. Those were the first words he spoke. Not to me. To you. He said it as though heaven had spoken your name for centuries. As though your life had been written on scrolls that angels study. As though the battles you endured in silence were known in the courts of glory. Beloved child of destiny. Michael's voice carried that phrase like a mantle, and I felt it rest upon the shoulders of your spirit even as I recount it now. Then he continued, and his words broke open a revelation that felt both urgent and deeply loving. A window has opened. A sacred window. A heavenly moment carved out of eternity, placed gently into time, and aligned directly with your life. Michael declared that this window would remain open for 3 hours. Not a random span of time. Not an accidental number. But an appointed moment in which heaven has chosen to pour something miraculous into your path. My child, when Archangel speaks of time, it is no small matter. Heaven does not measure hours the way we do. Heaven measures them by readiness, by alignment, by the unfolding of divine design. When Michael said 3 hours, it was not to scare, not to pressure, but to awaken, to stir your spirit into awareness, to let you know that what you have been praying for, what you have been silently carrying, is about to experience movement. He explained that within these 3 hours, something miraculous is scheduled to cross your path. Something that was delayed is being released. Something that was hidden is being uncovered. Something that was blocked is being opened. He said that heaven had waited for a moment when your heart, your mind, and your journey were aligned enough to receive without losing, to step forward without shrinking back. But he also said something else, something that shook me deeply. He said that this miracle would not arrive without a sign. A final sign. A sign that would appear simple, perhaps even ordinary. A sign that many overlook because they expect God to only speak in grand gestures. And then his tone shifted, becoming firm but still tender. Do not ignore the sign when it comes. For to ignore it is to turn away from the doorway heaven is trying to open for you. When he said this, the air around him flickered with a holy fire. Not destructive fire, but purifying fire, the kind that reveals truth. It became clear that heaven was not only offering a miracle but was teaching your spirit to recognize divine signals, to move when God moves, to notice what others overlook. My child, I want you to understand something deeply. Angels do not speak with wasted words. When Michael declared that a miracle is appointed for the next 3 hours, it means heaven has already set things in motion. There are changes shifting in the unseen. There are alignments forming in silence. There are blessings rising from places you never expected. There is movement behind the curtain of your reality, preparing to step into your life. But heaven is asking something of you in return. Awareness, sensitivity, willingness, the ability to pause, to listen, to notice when the atmosphere around you feels just slightly different, when a thought comes that feels too pure to be your own, when a nudge touches your heart with unusual clarity. These are the traces of the sign that is coming. Michael stepped closer then, and his wings, majestic and bright as dawn itself, stretched outward with a radiant authority. He spoke of protection being placed around you during these 3 hours. He spoke of barriers being broken. He spoke of clarity being given. And above all, he spoke of the love of the one who sent him, the one who orchestrates seasons and opens doors that no man can shut. My child, the Archangel has stepped forward. His declaration has been made. And now heaven watches to see how you will walk in these coming hours. My beloved child, stay close, for what I share with you now carries the depth of heaven's wisdom. After Archangel Michael's declaration settled in the air, I felt the weight of his words wrap around my spirit like a garment woven from light. The moment he spoke of the miracle scheduled for the next 3 hours, it was as though time itself paused, waiting for your heart to understand the magnitude of what heaven is preparing. You must know this: when heaven opens a miracle window, it is not random and it is never rushed. Divine moments are crafted with the precision of eternity. They are birthed in the quiet chambers of God's design long before they touch your earthly hours. And as Michael stood there, towering in holy majesty, I saw the outline of this miraculous moment begin to unfold before me like a scroll being gently unrolled by unseen hands. Heaven wants you to understand the nature of what is coming. Not so you can predict the outcome, but so you can recognize the movement of God when it arrives. For miracles seldom begin as miracles. They often begin as whispers. A feeling. A shift. An unexpected encounter. A sudden clarity. A door you did not even know existed gently swinging open. Heaven communicates in patterns, signals, and moments that may appear insignificant to the distracted heart but shine like beacons to the awakened soul. Michael began to explain what this 3-hour window truly represents. He said it is a moment when the veil between the natural and the spiritual becomes thin. A moment when prayers long held in waiting rise like incense and finally reach the point of divine response. A moment when what was stagnant begins to move. A moment when what was delayed begins to accelerate. My child, think of it like a well that has been filling drop by drop over time. You may not have seen the increase. You may have wondered if anything was happening at all. But heaven has been collecting every tear, every prayer, every hope, every enduring act of faith. And when the appointed time comes, the well overflows. Not suddenly but divinely. Not accidentally but intentionally. His miracle window is that overflow moment for you. Michael showed me visions then. Not visions of fantasy, but images that carried a meaning your heart can recognize. The first vision was of a locked door. It had been locked for so long that vines had grown around it. Many people had walked past that door not knowing what treasure lay behind it. But in the vision, I saw a hand reach forward, a hand from heaven, and a key made of pure light slipped into the lock. The door opened effortlessly, not because the person at the door had strength, but because heaven had chosen that moment to unlock what had been sealed. This is what the next 3 hours may represent for you. A door that has been locked for years is about to open. Not by your own strength, not by persuasion, not by striving, but by divine timing. The second vision was of a tangled rope. Knots upon knots, tightened over time, impossible to undo. I watched as a gentle flame descended upon the rope. Not a flame that destroyed, but a flame that separated the strands, loosening what once seemed impossible to untangle. Michael said this is how the miracle may appear in your life. Issues that were complex, burdens that were heavy, situations that made no sense suddenly begin to unravel with ease. Not because the problem changed, but because heaven touched it. The third vision was of a barren field. Dry, cracked soil. A land that had not produced anything for seasons upon seasons. But then a cloud appeared, just one, small and seemingly insignificant. Yet when it passed over the barren field, Rain fell from it, gentle at first, then steady, then abundant. And the dry ground softened, seeds long buried began to awaken, and new life broke through where nothing had lived before. This is how miracles come, my child. Quietly, unexpectedly, gracefully. A sudden rain upon a dry soul, a gentle unlocking of closed doors, a loosening of decades-old knots. Heaven moves with purpose, not with noise. Michael wanted you to understand that the miracle approaching you does not need to be dramatic to be divine. Many expect God to shout, but often he whispers. Many expect heaven to shake the earth, but often heaven simply shifts the heart. Many expect flashes of glory, but often glory comes as peace, as clarity, as an unexpected opportunity, as a conversation that changes everything. My child, the miracle coming toward you is not just an event. It is a movement. Something in your life is being recalibrated. Something is being repositioned. Something is being restored. Something is being revived. And though you may not yet see it with your natural eyes, your spirit has already begun to sense the stirring. The next 3 hours are not ordinary hours. They are hours of alignment, hours of preparation, hours in which the spiritual realm bends close to release what was held for you. Michael's wings shimmered with a holy brilliance as he spoke of this. He wanted you to know that heaven is not sending a miracle to tease your hope, but to strengthen it. Not to test you, but to reward your endurance. Not to confuse you, but to guide you into the next chapter of your journey. My beloved child, remain awake in your spirit. A miracle moment is nearer than you think. My beloved child, let your heart settle into this moment, for what I share now is sacred. After Michael revealed the miracle that is approaching, he shifted his stand slightly, and the room grew still, as though the very air recognized that what he was about to disclose carried deep instruction for your spirit. His wings gently folded behind him, and the light around him dimmed just enough for the focus to rest fully on his words. Then he spoke of the final sign. He said that before the miracle manifests, heaven will send you a sign. Not a sign of chaos, not a sign meant to frighten, but a sign that invites you into alignment with what God is releasing. His sign, he explained, would appear simple on the surface, but powerful in meaning. It would be something easily overlooked by a distracted heart, but unmistakable to the one who listens. My child, he said this sign would come gently, the way dawn comes to a sleeping world. It may appear as a sudden thought that feels warm and peaceful. It may come as a person reaching out unexpectedly. It may take the shape of an open door, an opportunity, a message, a memory resurfacing, a moment of conviction, or even a slight shift in the atmosphere that makes your spirit pause and wonder. Do not ignore it, he said. This is the final sign. As he spoke those words, I saw a scene unravel before me, as though heaven was showing a living parable meant for your understanding. I saw a young woman walking along a path lined with tall grass. She had been praying for guidance, hoping for a miracle, and crying for answers. Ahead of her was a fork in the road, one way leading to a valley and the other to a hill. She stood there confused, unsure, waiting for a grand revelation. But the sign came in the smallest way. A single leaf, carried by a tender breeze, drifted to her feet. Not in the valley direction, not in the direction of her fear, but toward the hill. She felt something in her heart tug, but she brushed it away, thinking it was nothing. She walked toward the valley, and I watched as the path became harder, darker, filled with obstacles she was not meant to face. Michael looked at me and said, Many people expect the supernatural to come with thunder, but heaven often speaks with a leaf. This, my child, is why you must not dismiss what may seem insignificant in the coming hours. Heaven speaks in whispers, not because it lacks power, but because it desires intimacy. Only those who pause and listen will recognize the voice behind the sign. Then I saw another scene, a man sitting at his table with his head in his hands. I am praying for breakthrough, for provision, for clarity. Heaven had already prepared the answer. But the answer came disguised in an unexpected instruction, a gentle prompting to call a friend he had not spoken to in years. He ignored it. He dismissed it. He told himself it was not important. But that simple phone call would have led him to the very door God had opened for him. Michael said again, "Do not ignore the sign." He went on to explain that the final sign will carry a certain weight in your spirit. Not heaviness, not fear, but a subtle certainty. It may feel like a nudge, a pull, a moment of awareness, a sudden clarity that rises without forcing itself. It may even come through something so ordinary that you could easily miss its significance. But your spirit, if you are attuned, will recognize the divine fingerprint upon it. Then Michael's expression grew more serious, not harsh, but deeply compassionate. He said that many of God's children miss their miracle not because heaven is silent, but because they walk too quickly, assume too easily, or allow distraction to drown out divine direction. But you, he said, are being given a warning so that you will not walk past the doorway heaven is opening. I felt the weight of his words, and I feel it again as I speak them over you now. My child, the sign will come. And when it does, do not hesitate. Do not doubt. Do not dismiss it as coincidence. Heaven is not a maker of accidents. Heaven is a maker of pathways. Michael then extended his hand, and as he did, the vision widened. I saw countless people who had come so close to their miracles but stepped away because they failed to recognize the sign sent before the blessing. A moment of distraction, a wave of doubt, a misunderstanding, and the doorway closed before they even realized what they had walked away from. But then I saw others, the awakened ones, the listening ones who paused when the sign appeared. They leaned in. They obeyed the nudge. They followed the gentle whisper. And their lives shifted dramatically as heaven poured breakthrough upon them. Michael turned his gaze once more toward you, and with a voice that carried the gentleness of grace and the firmness of destiny, he said, "The sign will not hide itself from you. It will come. But you must not ignore it. Watch it. Listen. Be ready." And then he stepped back, allowing the vision to settle into my spirit. My child, heaven is preparing you for what is ahead. You are not being left to guess. You are being guided. My beloved child, remain with me now, for what follows is both a warning and a deep act of love from heaven. After Michael revealed the nature of the final sign, his expression shifted once more, and the atmosphere around him became weightier, more solemn. Not fearful, not dark, but serious in the way a loving father becomes serious when he knows his child stands at a crossroads. What he spoke next was meant to protect you, to guard your future, to keep you from the sorrow that comes when divine moments are missed. He said that the miracle appointed for your next 3 hours carries great blessing, but also great responsibility. Heaven does not give lightly, and heaven does not open doors without purpose. Michael explained that when God positions a miracle in your path, it is not only to answer your prayer but to reposition your life, to lift you into the next chapter, to align you with blessings and encounters you have not yet imagined. But if the sign is ignored, if the prompting is dismissed, If the spirit grows dull in the very moment it must be awake, regret can take root like a shadow that follows a person longer than they ever intended. He told me the story of a man who had prayed for years for a breakthrough in his life. Opportunities came to him, doors cracked open, people invited him to step forward. But every time heaven sent a sign, he brushed it aside or assumed it was coincidence. He waited for something dramatic, something undeniable. Yet heaven was already speaking, already guiding, already moving. He ignored the small signs, and by the time he realized what they meant, the miracle window had closed. What was meant to happen in a single moment ended up delayed for years, and the regret he carried became a quiet ache that followed him everywhere. Michael's voice was solemn when he said, "Many of God's children suffer long not because heaven refuses to bless them, but because they refuse to notice the way heaven speaks. My child, this is not to frighten you but to awaken you. Heaven does not want you to walk the path of regret. You have carried enough disappointment in your life. You have known enough closed doors, enough missed chances, enough moments where you felt the burden of what could have been. The Father does not desire for this pattern to continue. That is why He has sent a warning wrapped in love, a message delivered through one of His mightiest angels, so that you may not repeat the sorrow of overlooking divine opportunity." Then Michael spoke a truth that pierced the atmosphere with holy weight. He said that when the sign appears, it may challenge you. It may require humility. It may require courage. It may require trust. It may require stepping out of what feels safe. Heaven does not always nudge you in the direction of comfort, but always in the direction of destiny. And destiny rarely grows in comfort. He said that ignoring the sign doesn't simply delay a blessing, it alters the rhythm of your entire life. For miracles are not isolated events. They are turning points. They shift relationships, finances, purpose, healing, direction, and calling. To ignore a sign is to walk away from a shift heaven has already designed for you. My child, hear this with love. Your future is too precious, your calling too important, your story too significant for you to miss what heaven is preparing. You may feel small at times, overlooked at times, forgotten at times, but heaven disagrees. Heaven sees you. Heaven values you. Heaven fights for you. And because of that, heaven warns you. The warning itself is proof of your worth. Michael then leaned forward, and his eyes carried something that felt like both fire and compassion. He said, "Tell the beloved child that this message must not stay with them alone. For sometimes one person's obedience becomes the doorway to another person's miracle. Let them carry this word, lift it, share it, stick it, for light spreads when it finds willing hands. My child, I tell you this with tenderness. When heaven releases a word, it is meant to be carried like a torch, not hidden, not held quietly. There are others who may never hear what heaven is saying unless it comes through you. There are hearts waiting, souls searching, spirits trembling in the dark. When you lift this message higher, you are not promoting a video, you are participating in a divine movement. You are helping heaven's voice reach someone who is praying for guidance this very night. That is a sacred duty. So as we continue, let your heart understand this truth. When heaven speaks, we honor it by carrying the message outward, letting it rise, letting it spread, letting it reach those who need its light. And in doing so, we become instruments of God's will, partners in His work, vessels of His comfort. This is why, my child, when this message reaches the depth of your heart, do not keep it silent. Share it. Lift it. Pass the light forward. Let it ripple into the lives of others. for heaven smiles upon the hands that carry its message faithfully. My beloved child, let your heart breathe gently now, for what comes next is not a warning but a revelation of purpose. After Michael revealed the seriousness of the final sign and the weight of missing it, his expression softened. The mighty warrior of heaven stood before me not as a commander preparing for battle, but as a guardian who has watched over your life with unwavering loyalty. The atmosphere shifted from solemn to tender, as though heaven wanted to ensure that you understood not only what is coming, but why it is coming. He said that every miracle released from heaven is born from intention. Nothing is random. Nothing is accidental. God does not simply scatter blessings into the world hoping someone will catch them. He is deliberate, purposeful, and deeply personal in all that he does. The miracle appointed for you in the next 3 hours is not merely a response to your need. It is a movement connected to your calling, your future, your healing, and your alignment with the destiny heaven has written for you. My child, Michael explained that heaven does not open miracle windows without reason. These moments appear when your life, your prayers, your growth, and even your battles have brought you into a place where you are ready to receive what once would have slipped through your fingers. For there were seasons when you prayed for blessings you were not yet positioned to carry. Seasons when your heart was too wounded, too unsure, too unstable to hold what heaven wanted to give. But now, he said, your spirit has matured. Your faith has stretched. Your endurance has deepened. You are no longer who you once were. Heaven hath been watching your transformation. Michael said that this 3-hour window is not simply about answering a request. It is about shifting you into alignment with a greater design over your life. A person can receive a blessing at the wrong time and lose it. But when heaven waits for the correct moment, the blessing becomes permanent, fruitful, and transformative. He showed me another vision then. I saw a tree planted beside a river. In its early years, storms bent it, wind that pushed it, droughts fanned it. But its roots were growing deeper unseen. It looked still. It looked unchanged. But beneath the surface, strength was forming. When the rains finally came, when the soil softened, when the sunlight poured upon it in the right season, the tree grew rapidly, beautifully, effortlessly. Its branches reached outward wide enough to shelter others, and its fruit nourished many who passed beneath it. Michael said, "This is the purpose of the miracle window. It is rain for the tree that has endured. It is sunlight for the soul that has waited. It is breakthrough for the heart that has not quit. You have asked God why things took so long. You have wondered why others seem to rise while you remain still. You question whether God had forgotten you. But heaven reveals now that the delay was preparation. Not punishment, not rejection, but divine timing shaping your capacity. A miracle coming to you is not small. It will alter the direction of things. It will open doors that once stood shut. It will shift relationships, opportunities, or paths that have felt stagnant. And carries purpose because you carry purpose. Heaven does not waste miracles on meaningless seasons. Heaven releases them when the time has ripened. Michael also said that understanding the purpose behind a miracle strengthens your ability to walk in it. When you know why heaven is moving, you no longer stumble in confusion. You walk with clarity. You step forward with confidence. You embrace blessing with wisdom. Heaven desires not only to bless you, but to equip you. This miracle window is a divine alignment. A moment where heaven adjusts what is crooked, restores what is broken, strengthens what is weak, and awakens what has been dormant. Something in your life that felt paused is about to be set into motion again. Something that felt lost is about to return. Something that felt uncertain will soon become clear. My beloved child, the miracle is not a random act of kindness. It is a strategic movement of God's hand upon your destiny. My beloved child, lean close now, for what I share with you next carries instruction meant to guide your steps during these sacred 3 hours. After Michael revealed the purpose behind the miracle window, he lifted his gaze, and a new intensity settled in his eyes. Not harshness, not urgency born of fear, but the firm tenderness of a heavenly guardian determined to see you receive everything God has appointed for you. He said that heaven does not release a miracle without also giving guidance on how to walk through the moment that contains it. My child, the next 3 hours are not hours to drift through casually. They are not hours to numb yourself with noise, distraction, or routine. These hours carry weight. They are alive with possibility. They are charged with movement from the unseen world. Heaven is not silent during this time. It is active, watching, lining, whispering. And you, beloved, must be attentive. Michael said the first thing you must do in these 3 hours is still your spirit. Not silence your environment, though that may help, but silence the inner storm. The worry, the overthinking, the fear that always imagines the worst, the doubt that questions every good thing. Heaven moves most clearly in the heart that is calm enough to notice the divine touch. Stillness creates spiritual clarity. When your spirit is quiet, you can sense the whispers that would otherwise be drowned out by anxiety. The second thing he instructed is to stay open. Heaven may move in ways you did not expect. The miracle may not come packaged in the wrapping you imagined. The answer may feel different than the prayer you prayed. But different does not mean wrong. Heaven's ways are higher, wiser, more strategic than your understanding. Michael said that those who receive miracles are the ones who remain open to the unexpected hand of God, the ones who do not limit heaven to their own imagination. Then he said something that touched me deeply. He said that in these 3 hours, you must walk gently with yourself. Do not scold yourself. Do not rush yourself. Do not pressure yourself. Heaven does not demand perfection. It asks for presence. It asks for awareness. It asks for willingness. You do not need to be flawless to receive a miracle. You only need to be open, awake, and willing to notice the sign when it appears. Michael also revealed that you should speak softly to God during these hours. Not with long prayers, not with eloquent speeches, but with honesty. Tell him what you desire. Tell him what you fear. Tell him what you hope for. Heaven listens with great tenderness when a child speaks with sincerity. The miracle may already be appointed, but your openness creates the space for it to land gently in your life. He said that you should stay near the things that help you feel connected to God, whether that is quietness, a scripture you love, a moment of reflection, or simply a posture of expectancy. Expectancy is powerful, my child. Expectancy pulls the miracle closer. Expectancy tells heaven, I'm ready. I'm watching. I'm willing. Then Michael spoke of awareness. During these 3 hours, pay attention. A thought that feels different. A conversation that appears at the right time. A feeling of peace that settles suddenly. A memory that resurfaces with purpose. A message that seems perfectly timed. A shift in the air around you. These are not coincidences. They are hints of heaven's movement. He showed me another vision then. I saw a lamp burning dimly in a quiet room. The room was dark, but the lamp was enough to see. Suddenly, a breeze came through a window, and instead of extinguishing the flame, it made the light glow brighter. Michael said that this is how heaven moves in the life of someone who is attentive. A gentle breeze, not a forceful wind, strengthens the light in their spirit and helps them recognize the moment of visitation. Heaven is not asking you to strain. It is inviting you to notice. The last thing Michael instructed was this: walk these hours without fear. The miracle is not fragile. You cannot break it by breathing wrong. You cannot ruin it by being human. Heaven is not asking you to prove anything. It is simply inviting you into alignment. Fear clouds the eyes of the spirit, but trust clears them. Michael said, "Tell the beloved child that heaven is with them during every minute of these 3 hours. They are not waiting alone. They are not listening alone. They are not watching alone. My child, these hours ahead of you are holy. Honor them. Be present within them. God is not testing you. He is guiding you. He is preparing you. He is positioning you for what He has chosen to release. Walk gently, expectantly, and with an open heart. Heaven will do the rest. My beloved child, draw near once more, for what I share with you now is meant to lift your spirit and give you a glimpse of what will unfold once this miracle touches your life." After Michael finished giving instructions for the 3 sacred hours, he grew quiet. His wings folded gently, and his gaze shifted upward as though he were listening to something beyond my hearing. The silence that filled the room was not empty. It pulsed with anticipation. It felt as though heaven itself was leaning over the edge of eternity, preparing to breathe on the pages of your story. Then, slowly, he turned his attention back toward me. His expression carried something new, something brave, something triumphant, something certain. It was the look of one who has already seen the victory that you have not yet stepped into. And with that certainty, he began to reveal what your life will look like after the miracle arrives. "My child," he said, "that when heaven releases a miracle, the shift is rarely small. Even if the miracle appears gentle at first, its effects ripple through every area of your life. A divine touch cannot remain isolated. When God moves His hand, everything connected to you begins to change. Some changes you will notice immediately, like a sudden peace settling over your heart, or clarity arriving in a place where confusion once lived. Other changes will unfold over days, weeks, or even months, gently reshaping your path the way a river reshapes the land it touches." Michael spoke of healing. Not only physical healing, though that may come for some, but also healing of the heart. Wounds you have carried quietly, scars you learned to hide, disappointments you buried deep. All these begin to soften under the breath of the miracle. Heaven does not release blessing without also releasing restoration. A miracle that is approaching you carries with it a healing atmosphere, a balm for the parts of you that have been hurting for far too long. He then spoke of restoration. He said relationships that were strained may begin to shift. Conversations that once seemed impossible may suddenly find grace. People who drifted away may resurface with softened hearts. Opportunities that slipped through your fingers in the past may return in a new form, ready for your hands now that you have grown. Heaven never restores something to the way it was. Heaven restores it to the way it was meant to be. Then Michael spoke of clarity. He said that confusion has lingered in your life like fog, clouding decisions and dimming direction. But after the miracle, clarity will come. You will begin to understand why certain doors closed, why certain delays happened, why certain people left, why certain prayers remain unanswered for so long. The threads that once felt tangled will begin to make sense. Heaven will illuminate pathways you did not even know existed. He also spoke of provision. Not merely financial provision, though that may come, but provision of strength, provision of opportunity, provision of favor. Doors that once resisted you will begin to open. People who once overlooked you will start to notice. Situations that once worked against you will begin to shift in your favor. Heaven does not send miracles without also sending provision to sustain them. There is a divine current that will begin to carry you, lifting you into a new season. Michael then revealed something that touched me deeply. He said that after this miracle, your name will be spoken in places you have never stepped into. People you do not know yet will begin to think of you, consider you, bless you, and speak well of you without understanding why. But heaven understands. For when God marks a person for a new season, He places their name in the minds of those who hold keys to their next chapter. And finally, He spoke of awakening. He said that something within you, something powerful, something sacred, something long dormant, is going to rise after the miracle. Maybe it is your courage. Maybe it is your joy. Maybe it is your creativity. Maybe it is a dream you buried years ago. But whatever it is, heaven has not forgotten it. The miracle will not only change your circumstances, it will reawaken the parts of you that were created for more. My child, your life will not look the same after this divine moment. The next chapter is not a repetition of the past. It is a new unfolding, a new rising, a new beginning shaped by the hand of God. A miracle will touch you, and then everything connected to you will begin to shift. My beloved child, stay close now, for what I share with you in this moment carries the final breath of Michael's message. After revealing the unfolding of your life after the miracle, the atmosphere around him shifted once more, but this time with an almost reverent calm. His wings, which had been spread with strength and authority, drew inward, not out of weariness, but out of holy gentleness. The room felt quieter, as though heaven itself was preparing for a final whisper. Michael lifted his head, and his gaze fixed on you. Yes, on you, beloved child of heaven's design. And in his eyes was something that felt like both a blessing and a sending. It was the gaze of one who has fought battles on your behalf, who has stood guard over your nights, who has shielded you from dangers you never saw, who has spoken your name in the courts of heaven. There was affection in his eyes, and there was purpose. Then he spoke, and his voice carried a softness I had not heard before. He said, "My beloved child must know this. Heaven is not asking you to walk into these next 3 hours alone. You are not stepping into an unknown moment without covering. You are not facing a miracle window without protection. You are surrounded. You are shielded. You are watched over." He explained that during these hours, angels will move around you, not to startle you, not to overwhelm you, but to guide your steps gently. He said that peace will rest upon you like a quiet mantle, even if circumstances around you appear unchanged. He said that clarity will begin to glimmer inside your spirit like a small flame growing brighter. You may not see everything at once, but you will sense enough to know that heaven is near. My child, Michael's final words were not warnings but assurances. He said that heaven is not fragile. Heaven is not hesitant. Heaven does not question its ability to fulfill what it has promised. What God has appointed for these 3 hours is already secure. No darkness can hinder it. No doubt can stop it. No delay can break it. He said, "Tell the beloved child that fear has no authority in this moment. Let them walk forward with courage, with expectation, with trust." He extended his hand then, palm open, and a light began to rise from it. Soft at first, then growing in brilliance until it filled the space around him. And he said, "This light goes before them. This light guards them. This light reveals the sign. This light prepares the path for the miracle to rest upon their life. Tell them to be at peace. Tell them to watch. Tell them to trust. Then, with a slow and reverent motion, Michael stepped backward, not as one who is leaving, but as one who is shifting from sight into unseen realms. His wings unfolded once more, radiant with heavenly strength, and he spoke the final sentence of his message: "Do not fear the hour that is coming, for heaven walks in it with you." My beloved child, his presence faded, but the peace remained. His voice quieted, but the promise echoed. His form disappeared, but the assurance settled into the room like a warm mantle laid upon your shoulders. You are not alone. You are not unprepared. You are not forgotten. The miracle hour approaches, and heaven stands beside you. My beloved child, come close for this final moment, for the message has reached its sacred conclusion. The room has grown still, the visions have quieted, and the echo of Michael's words rests gently in the air like the fading glow of a setting sun. What remains now is the blessing that heaven has poured into this hour, soft, steady, and certain. You stand on the edge of a holy unfolding. The next 3 hours are not ordinary hours. They are anointed, appointed, and woven with divine intention. Heaven has prepared something miraculous for you, something shaped with the wisdom of God and delivered with the care of angels. And as you step forward into this time, know this truth deep in your spirit: nothing can steal what heaven has sealed for your life. My child, may peace settle upon your heart like a warm mantle. May courage rise within you like a gentle fire. May your spirit lift with the certainty that God has not only heard you, He has moved for you. The sign will come. The miracle will follow. And your life will not remain the same. Receive this blessing. Walk with expectancy. Keep your heart open and your spirit awake. And as this message has awakened something within you, let it flow outward. Share this light with others. Lift this word higher and let it reach those who need its hope. There is a divine duty upon the hearts of those who carry heaven's whisper. Spread it, so others may rise just as you are rising now. Amen.